You know, one thing that I love about the 2026 World Cup is that we got an extra knockout game. Yes, the round of 32 is over, and in previous editions, we didn't have that. We would jump straight to the round of 16, which is where we are right now. So we got that extra knockout game. We had some incredible games, some incredible upsets, but probably the most incredible thing were my predictions for the round 32. They've been great. Once again, and people loved it. Everyone has been asking. They all want it. They all want me to make a prediction video for every single round. And that's what we're doing today. We're going to do my full predictions for the round of 16. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Chapéu Football, where we provide the best coverage of South American football, and in this case, the World Cup in English on YouTube. And today we have the ultimate round of 16 World Cup predictions video. I'm going to go through every single game, the bracket, and give you my prediction of the outcome for every single game and my reasoning behind it. Why do I think that team will advance? We now have a lot of data on every single team, so for that reason, I'm expecting to get 7 out of 8 games right, maybe 8 out of 8. But right now, what I want to ask you is to drop a like in this video. I'm not going to be asking during the predictions, so do that right now. It's a great way to support the channel for free, and subscribe as we're trying to grow this channel, and it has been growing incredibly fast. With that said, also don't forget to comment down below your predictions. There are 8 games right there in the round 16. Let me know every single prediction. And this video is brought to you by Proton VPN, but more on that later. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about because a lot has happened in the World Cup since we did our last predictions video. And listen, I believe there have been so far like 88 games in the 2026 World Cup. And I'm proud to tell you, I've watched 88 games. I've watched all the games. A few of them I kind of half watched because there were 2 games at the same time. So I was mainly watching one. I had another screen at the other game. But I have watched all 88 games, all of them. Some of them I watched twice. US games mainly because I've been scouting and doing some work on Tactical Manager TV. But before we talk about the predictions, let's go through the bracket. Let's go through the updated bracket. And don't worry, I am going to zoom in for you. So on one side of the bracket here, let's go on this top left here. We have Paraguay facing France. This was a prediction I got wrong. I had Germany knocking out Paraguay in the last prediction video, but Paraguay pulled it off. Don't get me wrong. Germany definitely was the better side, but it doesn't really matter. It's the World Cup. It's whoever wins, right? And Germany's out, eliminated, right? They've been ass ever since the 2014 World Cup. Germany has been cursed by Brazil ever since they beat Brazil 7-1, grouped in 2018, grouped in 2022, and then now they got out of their group and they lost in the first knockout to Paraguay. And then France, they just ran over Sweden. I talked about this many times. I've made a short also on Instagram. By the way, you guys can follow us on Instagram. It's down below right here. You guys can see here Instagram on the bottom of the screen. I haven't seen a World Cup like this in quite some time. Usually there's like 3 or 4 teams at a similar level fighting for the trophy. France is the best team in this World Cup. There's no doubt in my mind. Does that mean they're going to win it? No. You know, it's not always the best team that wins it. But in this World Cup, on paper and performance-wise, France is the best team. It's not debatable. Okay, they're number 1. And someone's going to have to pull an upset. So France will play Paraguay in the round of 16 right there because they won their games. And we'll talk about that prediction very soon. Let's go through the other ones here. South Africa and Canada. Canada defeated South Africa with a late goal, 1-0. That was the battle of mid as in mediocre. Those teams are not very good. The winner of that game, Canada, will face Morocco because Morocco defeated the Netherlands on penalty shootout. That was an incredible game. The Netherlands and Morocco, tremendous game. This one will be an easy prediction. We'll talk about that very soon. Let's keep going here in the bracket. We have also Portugal defeated Croatia. The game was somewhat controversial. To me, the most controversial thing was the penalty they gave to Portugal. It's debatable, or at least it's a soft call. The offside, there's a chip in the ball. So I'm just going to trust technology there. Okay, but it doesn't matter right now. Portugal advanced with Cristiano Ronaldo scoring his first knockout goal. Croatia's out. Modric is done with World Cups. Absolute legend. Massive respect to Modric right there. But Portugal advances, and they're going to face Spain. And Spain against Austria, for the very first time, they look like title contenders. This was the first game in the World Cup that I watched Spain, and I saw Spain actually look like title contenders. In the group stage, they didn't. So Spain completely outplayed Austria 3-0. They were the dominant force in that game. United States, my country here also. United States defeated Bosnia 2-0. The US went man down because Balogun got a red card. The ref Rafael Klaus from Brazil gave a red card to Balogun. I thought it was a little bit harsh, but anyhow, even with the U.S. playing man down, the U.S. still managed to get a second goal of Malik Tillman in that game, and they knocked out Bosnia. Okay, so the U.S., one of the host nations, they advance. Belgium against Senegal. Senegal outplayed Belgium. They were better than Belgium for most of that game. They completely outplayed Belgium. But Belgium scored two late goals. Like Senegal was up 2-0 up to the 85th minute. But then Belgium scored two goals. One of them was Lukaku. Tielemans scored two goals after that, one in regular time and one penalty kick in extra time. Belgium advanced, and they're going to face the U.S., which is a rematch, a revenge game for the U.S., or a rematch from the 2014 round of 16 World Cup, right? Where Belgium knocked out the United States, where Tim Howard made like 16 saves that game in Brazil. So the other side of the bracket, Argentina struggled a lot to beat Cabo Verde. That game was insane. To me, it was my favorite game of the World Cup, even though Argentina won. I wanted Argentina to lose. Massive respect to Cabo Verde. They kept chasing after Argentina. 1-0 Argentina. They tied a game. It goes to extra time. Argentina scores. Cabo Verde scores a golaço. And then, obviously, Argentina gets the win at the end. But Cabo Verde, tremendous World Cup. I am incredibly shocked with what they did. And truly, congratulations to Cabo Verde. Australia and Egypt. Egypt wins on penalty shootouts. Egypt advances, and they're going to play Argentina. Switzerland completely dominated Algeria 2-0. And they advance here to the round of 16, where they're going to face Colombia, which to me, Colombia, they defeated Ghana 1-0 only, but it should have been 2, should have been 3. Colombia, out of the dark horses or dark horse candidates in the World Cup, to me, Colombia has played the best soccer, the best football. Colombia. They've been incredible. There's no weaknesses on this team. They're intense. They're solid on defense. The midfield is good. The offense is very talented with Luis Diaz and John Arias especially. Suarez is great. Colombia, to me, out of the dark horses, the underdogs in the tournament to go far, maybe win it, they've been the best, in my opinion, right? They could knock out Argentina the way Argentina's been playing. Then we have Brazil defeated Japan with a late goal. We talked about this game. I covered this game. We made a video about this game. Gabriel Martinelli scored a late goal. And they're going to face Norway that defeated the Ivory Coast 2-1. We'll talk about this game in a second. Brazil and Norway. Then Mexico defeated Ecuador in Mexico. And England, with two late goals by Harry Kane. Harry Kane's been incredible in this World Cup. They defeated DR Congo. And England will now face Mexico. So that said, that's the recap of the knockout rounds. So now I think we can talk about the predictions. But before we talk about the predictions, we're going to put a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Proton VPN. Then I'm going to go through every single game, give you my predictions and my reasoning to why I think each team will advance. We'll be back very soon. Do not go anywhere. And in the meantime, make sure to drop a like in this video, okay? Don't go anywhere. The World Cup is here, and you want to watch the games without being watched. And that's why today we are partnering up with Proton VPN. With Proton VPN, you can watch the games with no tracking, no data collection, and your privacy being protected. I mean, we don't want that search history leaking. Essentially, you watch the game without being watched. Also, if you are traveling outside of the United States or out of your own home country during the World Cup, you can use Proton VPN. And that will allow you to access your home broadcasts from the subscriptions that you already have. Some people prefer a more familiar broadcast, so even miles away, it still feels like home. And if you use my link, which is protonvpn.com/tactical, or you can just click it in the description, you will get Proton VPN with a special deal that is valid throughout the World Cup. And this is big. You'll get 50% off if you sign up for 1 month. You'll get 65% off if you sign up for a full year. Now, if you sign up for 2 years, you get 70% off, which comes out to be less than $3 a month. Again, go to protonvpn.com/tactical to get those special offers. Thank you very much, Proton VPN, for sponsoring the channel. Okay, time for some beautiful, wonderful predictions right here. And we're going to start with this side of the bracket here where we have Paraguay versus France. So what can I say about this game? Paraguay got out of the group after losing to the U.S. 4-1 in the first round, the first game, right? They lost to the United States 4-1. Paraguay still managed to defeat Turkey 1-0, tie Australia. They got out of the group. Okay. They played Germany and pulled one of the biggest upsets in this World Cup when they knocked out Germany. Easily one of the biggest upsets, right? But I'm sorry. Like, this is where the road ends. I just don't see a team of the caliber of Paraguay being able to defeat France. Like I said before, France is easily the best team of this World Cup. To beat France, it has to be a team that is at least close enough on a talent level where on the right day they can beat them. That's not Paraguay. The gap is too big. France is better than Paraguay in every single position. Goalkeeper is better, even though the Paraguay goalkeeper is incredible. And then up top, I think as much as Paraguay will try to defend, right, they're not going to hold Olisi, Mbappe, Dembele, Barcola, or Desere Due, whoever else is playing there. They're just not going to do it. And I think the fact that Paraguay scored first against Germany, that played a big role. If my memory doesn't fail me, they did score first. And that's the big reason because think about it. The moment France scores first against Paraguay, and then Paraguay has to go at France and give them space, right, to counterattack. Um, I actually think this will be I actually think it's going to be a comfortable win for France. That's what I'll say. I'm not going to predict a score. I'm just going to say France advances. I clicked here and it put 2-0 as the random score. I can see it being 2-0 France. I don't think Paraguay is going to score against France, and France will score at least 2 goals. So this one, I'm sorry if you guys want me to pick an upset here, but I just can't do it for this one. Now, the other one here, you guys may be saying, Canada, one of the host nations. Well, the game is not in Canada, right? This game we played in the United States. And Morocco is a more experienced team than Canada, more talented in almost every position, almost every position. They have more fight in them, more grit. Um, Again, you guys are going to say, you're picking the favorites here. We'll get to a point where I'm not going to pick the favorites in every game because I have my reasoning for different games, but I can't just pick Canada here just to be cute. I don't see Canada knocking out Morocco. I just don't see it. I don't know if you guys disagree with me. Canada is a very physical team. They're also missing Ismail Kone because he broke his leg. That's an important player for them. Last game against South Africa, to me, it was pretty evident that Alphonso Davies is not 100%. He's not fully match sharp, and that's a big difference because that's their best player, right? Having Bombito back will help Canada for sure, but it's not going to happen, guys. I think Canada's had a wonderful World Cup for them. They got out of the group for the first time. They won their first knockout game ever, but Morocco's going through. I'm not picking an upset here just because. And then we get France and Morocco, which is a rematch of the semifinals of the last World Cup. France and Morocco. When we get to that, I'll give you my predictions between France and Morocco. I want to watch these games first, but I do think that Morocco is probably the first team in this World Cup that has the potential to upset France. I think Morocco has the potential. Will they do it? I don't think so, but we'll talk about that. I want to watch Morocco against Canada and France against Paraguay. Let's scroll down here. Okay. Portugal and Spain. This is an interesting matchup because if you look at how these teams have done, played, and even not player by player, when it comes to talent, it's pretty close. It's very close. I would argue Portugal has the best left back in the world, Nuno Mendes. I would also argue that Portugal has the best midfield in the world with João Neves, Vitinha, Bruno Fernandes. Now, have they been playing as the best midfield in the world? They have not. And then Portugal also has some very talented players like Rafael Leão. Rafael Leão was actually very good against Croatia. Gonçalo Ramos finally scored. That is kind of important. Cristiano Ronaldo is an interesting one for me. I think he's important for Portugal. I don't want to sit here and be a hater and say, oh, they need to remove Ronaldo. No, that's stupid. But if Portugal wants to go far in the World Cup, if they want to win it, they cannot treat Ronaldo as an untouchable player like he once was. He used to be untouchable. And honestly, Roberto Martinez increased my confidence last game on Portugal because the game was 1-1 and there were 10 minutes left. If Ronaldo was untouchable, he was going to ride with Ronaldo till the very end. And he subbed out Ronaldo. He did that, which proved to me that Ronaldo is not untouchable, Cristiano Ronaldo. And I didn't trust Portugal prior to that. But when I saw Roberto Martinez do that, Ronaldo support his team, and they actually pulled it through against Croatia. By the way, Croatia is a very tough team. It's not an easy team to beat right there. It increased my confidence on this Portuguese side because in terms of talent, this Portuguese side is stacked. The goalkeeper is incredible, Diogo, right? The goalkeeper is an incredible goalkeeper. Um, Rafael Leão, the midfield I talked about, Nuno Mendes. It's a great team. And then you have Spain that didn't look good in the group stage, but against Austria, they look dominant. Spain has a few issues, though. They don't really have a center forward, do they? They don't. And Lamine Yamal, last game against Austria, he looked better than in the group stage because he didn't look that good in the group stage, but he looked better. Okay. With that said, I know many people are going to say Spain are the favorites here. And these two teams played in the Nations League final, if you guys don't remember, last year, right? And Portugal won on penalty shootouts. And Spain maybe was a little bit better in the game. Maybe a little bit. I think that's fair during that game. That was a year ago. I think Portugal's going to knock out Spain. I think it's going to happen. I know Portugal hasn't looked great, but neither has Spain until the Austria game. But what happened in the Croatia game and how Portugal pulled that win and the fact that Ronaldo's not untouchable, I think Portugal is going to knock out Spain. And this may shock many of you, right? I don't know if this is considered an upset because on paper, in terms of talent, these two teams are very close. But I'm going to go with Portugal here. I think Portugal will knock out Spain out of the World Cup here. So, again, you guys let me know your picks and drop a like in the video if you haven't already. But I'm going to go with Portugal, believe it or not. USA and Belgium. This is an interesting one. And I have, obviously, a big bias for the United States, right? A big bias for the United States. But 12 years later, these two teams meet again in the round of 16. It almost feels scripted. And listen to this, if you guys don't know. Please listen to this. Because look at what I have to say here. The two players that scored on the United States in 2014, that's 12 years ago. They're still playing for Belgium. Kevin De Bruyne and Lukaku. They scored the 2 goals for Belgium in 2014 to knock out the U.S. in that World Cup back in Brazil. And now they're back. And mind you, this U.S. team has looked good. The game the U.S. lost to Turkey, they played the reserves. But the games that the U.S. played their starters, 4-1 against Paraguay, that knocked out Germany, 2-0 against Australia, that had a really tough game with Egypt, 2-0 against Bosnia. The same Bosnia that was the one that got Italy out of the World Cup. And the U.S. played man down for a good chunk of the game. Belgium, on the other hand, they only in regular time, during regular time, the 90 minutes, they only beat New Zealand because they tied Egypt, they tied Iran, they tied Senegal and beat them in extra time with a penalty kick. So they only beat New Zealand. I think also the Belgium team, they lack a little bit of athletic ability to match up with the United States. They're much slower and less physical than the U.S. I do have some concerns about the wide players from Belgium for this game, like Doku, for example, facing the U.S. Have Tim Ream that's a little bit slower, but I think the U.S. will cover for that. I think the U.S. will upset Belgium. I mean, I don't even know if this is considered an upset for this World Cup because Belgium hasn't looked great, and the U.S. is looking like the best U.S. we've ever seen in any World Cup. And the United States is playing at home, and the United States is playing in Seattle. The United States men's national team has played 7 games in that stadium, the Seattle Stadium called Lumen Field, where the Seattle Sounders play. The United States won all 7 games that they've played in that game. The crowd shows up. It's a different environment. I think the United States will knock out Belgium. I really do. I know this may sound biased, but I have a lot of confidence on the U.S. So right here, we have a matchup, Portugal and the United States, and then we have France and Morocco in the quarterfinals. Now let's go to the other pathway. So this game, Brazil and Norway. I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to show you guys some stats to back some things that I'm about to say. This may be a very bold claim. Some of you might even get pissed off at me. Not the Brazilians. They'll love this. There's no way this Brazil loses to Norway. There's no way this Brazil loses to Norway. I'm telling you right now. Norway's offense is going to be tough to deal with. Odegaard, incredible player, right? And then you have, obviously, Erling Haaland, that the Brazil's going to have to do a good job with him, and I do have concerns about Casemiro. But Norway's defense has looked quite shaky, and I want to show you guys some stats here to back what I'm about to say. Okay, Norway's a very good team, by the way. But look at this: XG conceded. XG conceded is the amount of goals that you were supposed to allow in the World Cup based on the advanced analytics. And Brazil is at 3 goals that they should have been allowed, which is not that bad. They're top 10 in the tournament. Norway right now is right here, 5.5. And they've conceded 8 goals, by the way. Okay. They are they're probably the worst defense, actually, in the knockouts right now. Out of the teams that are left, Norway might be the worst defense. I'm not joking. In terms of goals conceded, and XG, they're only ahead of Paraguay from the knockout teams that are left. So they're one of the worst defenses left in the knockout rounds that are going to go against Brazil right now. And then you have Brazil right here as the top team when it comes to expected goals. Brazil's the top team. Brazil's not the top goal scorer, but they're the number one in expected goals. So that would be in like chance creation. Brazil's going to create a lot of chances against Norway, as they have for most of the World Cup. And Norway concedes a lot of chances. Now, Brazil does have to deal with Erling Haaland. I'm not saying the Norway game will be easy, but I just think that Norwegian defense is not going to be able to hold Brazil to less than 2 goals. And I think Brazil can hold Norway to 1 goal. Like maybe Haaland will get a goal here. So ultimately, I just don't see how Brazil loses this game. It'll be very tough. Very tough. This Norway team will be as good as Japan. Different from Japan. Very different. But I just don't see Brazil losing this game. I think Brazil will knock out Norway. And people are going to say, well, Brazil has never beat Norway ever in World Cup friendlies. They've played like 4 times or something, and Brazil has never defeated Norway. Guys, there's a first time for everything, and that is 100% irrelevant to what we're analyzing here. Irrelevant. Games that happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30, 40, they're irrelevant to what happens now. Germany had never lost a penalty shootout in World Cup history, and they lost to Paraguay. So bringing up that stat when you're trying to analyze something is ridiculous, okay? I think Brazil knocks out Norway. Now, Mexico and England. Look, when it comes to talent, England are the favorites here, and they have the best player in this game. Harry Kane is definitely the best player, okay? England and Mexico. The problem is this game is at the Estadio Azteca. This game is at the Azteca in Mexico City. It's going to be a very, very tough environment for England, the English players to deal with. It's in the altitude. The English players won't know what's coming from that. They don't have experience playing in the altitude. The crowd will be hostile in the Azteca. They're probably going to light up fireworks near the hotel one day prior to the game, like they did to Ecuador. It's just something that England is not accustomed to. And Mexico hasn't conceded a goal in the World Cup. The defense has been rock solid. England has been shaky. So, as crazy as this sounds, Mexico's going to knock out England. I'm calling this right now. The last time England played at the Estadio Azteca was the Maradona game, the Hand of God. That's when England lost in the 1986 World Cup. And that is irrelevant to this game, of course, like I said about the Norway. But I'm just saying the entire environment that Mexico is going to put England through, in the fact that Mexico has been mostly playing well in the World Cup. The defense has been incredible, and the offense has been efficient with Raul Jimenez, Quinones. Watch out for Gilberto Mora, the young prospect from Mexico. I think Mexico knocks out England. And here's the thing. When Mexico plays Brazil, it's going to go to the U.S., so that's advantage for Brazil. That game will be in the United States and not in Mexico. But for England, unfortunately, they're going to have to go play Mexico in the Estadio Azteca. And even though England is more talented, they have a better team. Even though I don't think they have a better defense, but they have a better team, I think Mexico knocks out England. Now we go to this side of the bracket here. So Argentina and Egypt. Guys, Egypt has more talent up top than Cabo Verde, but I don't think they're a better team than Cabo Verde, just being honest. Obviously, Marmoush, Salah, a little bit more talent, more quality up top. I don't think Argentina loses to Egypt. this is not the end of the road for Argentina. So I think Argentina will beat Egypt, and I think it'll be during regular time. This is not going to extra time. I don't have to explain it much. Argentina's looked shaky, and they have relied a little too much on Messi still. Like Messi's still kind of carrying this team. Like if he doesn't do something on offense, he got the assist for the corner. He scored the first goal against Cabo Verde. They still rely a lot on Messi, but ultimately, I think Argentina will show up and they'll beat Egypt. It won't be easy. It'll be a tight score, but they'll beat Egypt during regular time. Switzerland and Colombia. Switzerland is a very good team. Very, very good team, Switzerland. They had that shaky start when they tied Qatar, but they're a great team. And honestly, what's his name? Munzambi, their attacking midfielder slash winger, plays wide, plays central. Munzambi, he's a candidate for young player of the tournament. He has been incredible in this tournament, Munzambi. He plays for Freiburg, and I think he's going to go to Newcastle now. He's like 20 years old, 19 years old. Incredible player. And Bolo up top. Very good team, Switzerland. With that said, Colombia is a more complete team, more intense team, and they have been the best dark horse of this tournament. Colombia has been the best performing dark horse of this tournament. Luis Diaz is a different beast for this team, even though he's incredible for club as well. James Rodriguez has played his role. Munoz, the right back, incredible. Richard Rios played the last game, good player. Sometimes comes off the bench. John Arias, deadly. Suarez up top, good player. Defense has been solid. The intensity that this team brings and the lack of weaknesses, I don't see a weakness. The midfield is good. The defense is good. The offense is talented. They're scoring goals. They're creating chances. They should have beat Ghana by a lot more. I think Colombia is going to knock out Switzerland. Colombia is going to beat Switzerland, guys. They're just a better team. They're going to struggle with the intensity. Also, the Colombians are traveling. They're going to be there at this game. Home crowd advantage for Colombia. They're going to beat Switzerland. So on this side, we get these matchups. Argentina versus Colombia, Mexico versus Brazil. These are going to be tough games for both sides. I think Argentina has a tougher matchup because Brazil will face Mexico in the U.S. This will help Brazil. So Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, Colombia. And then on the other side, we have France versus Morocco and Portugal versus the United States of America. Those predictions, I will make a video for the quarterfinals prediction when we have the actual matchups. There's no point on doing it right now because these games might happen or might not. Even though out of those 8 games that I predicted, I'll probably get at least 7 right, 6 or 7, maybe 1 I'll get wrong. We'll see. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like right now. And that's all for these predictions. Have a great day. And I'll see you guys on the Brazil live watch along. Bye.